Hello, ho, ho, everyone, and welcome to a very special Christmas edition of Music and Moonsaults. It's the flagship show here on the Music and Moonsaults channel, and I don't want a lot for Christmas. There's just one thing I need. Actually, there's a couple things I need. I need you to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done that already, please. And then follow me on Twitter at IbanezChris. That's it. That's all I need for Christmas from you loyal viewers. So I hope everyone's having a great Christmas day. And if you do not observe Christmas, I hope you're just having a really awesome Friday. So I don't want to take a lot of your time today because of the holiday. But I did want to give you a little extra present underneath the tree, so to speak. So normally on this show, I do a long deep dive on the music of a specific wrestler or group, their entrance music and how it evolves over time. I'm not going to do that today. You ain't got time to watch that. It's Christmas. Y'all are busy. So today I thought I'd do something a little different, still wrestling music related. I'm going to do a top 5. And the top 5 I'm going to do today is my favorite wrestler entrance themes that are actually performed by the wrestlers themselves. This is the first topic that came to mind when I was like, I should do a top 5 in December. And then I was like, oh, that's a good one. There's a handful of people who have done this over the years. And these are my favorite 5. Now, these are not what I'm saying are necessarily the 5 best. Although, I guess in my opinion, they are the 5 best. But, nor, as far as importance or anything like that. These are just the ones I enjoy listening to the most. So yeah, that's what today's topic is going to be. And so, without further ado, we are going to get started with number 5. Now, number 5 is going to be cheating a little bit, and that's why it's at number 5. It's also the only current one on the list. So, number 5 is Judas, which is the song Chris Jericho comes out to. It is sung by Chris Jericho sings it because it's by his band Fozzy, and that's why it's kind of cheating. Like it's an actual song that got released on the radio and stuff like that. So Judas was released by Fozzy in May of 2017 as the first single off of their Judas album that came out later that year. And it actually got them a nice little buzz. It spent 26 weeks on the mainstream rock chart, peaking at number 5. And so then in 2018, when Jericho went over to New Japan to wrestle Kenny Omega, this is the song he used and has used for all his New Japan appearances, and it's also the song he uses in All Elite Wrestling. The funny thing is that it also was used as a theme song for an NXT TakeOver. So that's kind of funny when you think back on it now. But it's really cool, obviously when things are normal and there's crowds at wrestling shows. I mean, AEW's letting a few fans in, so we're getting a little bit of it back, but it's not like it used to be before the pandemic. But when there's a full arena singing along to Judas, it's one of the coolest things. It's something I hope to experience someday. Hopefully when everything goes back to normal, whatever that is, AEW makes their way to my neck of the woods, either somewhere in Michigan or maybe even Toledo, Ohio, something like that. And I can go to a show and get to sing Judas with a whole arena full of people. That would be really cool. So That's number 5. Now, at number 4, we're going to go old school. And number 4 is Honky Tonk Man by the Honky Tonk Man. And this is one of the most popular, as far as when you go back to that golden era of the WWF, Honky Tonk Man is one of those characters that you think of, and his theme song. So Honky Tonk Man debuted in the WWF in September of 1986. Originally as a babyface, believe it or not, but fans were not with that whatsoever, so they turned him heel really quickly. And he tapped Jimmy Hart to be his manager, and he called him Colonel Jimmy Hart, which is a nod to Elvis's manager, Colonel Tom Parker. And because, Honky Tonk Man is basically just an Elvis ripoff. He looks just like, Elvis. So he wins the Intercontinental title in June of 1987. Now, around this time, WWF is releasing their second music album called Pile Driver in 1987. And before this, he had just had this... I had never heard it before until I went, doing some research for the... I did do a little bit of research for this. But he had this other... It was, the same kind of style of music, that rockabilly style, but it was, I think it was sung by a woman even. But yeah, in 1987, then, he gets the iconic Honky Tonk Man music. I got my long sideburns and my hair slicked back. I'm coming to your town in my pink Cadillac. I'm just a honky tonk man. That song. And yeah, like I said, it's one of the more iconic themes in WWF or even wrestling history, especially like I said, from that era. He's one of those characters that you think of. Number 3 is so I am not a rap guy normally. I can get into some stuff, especially like old school stuff, but typically rap is not my genre of choice. However, John Cena is on this list, but it's not for the theme that most people think of when you think of John Cena. My time is now. No, that's no. My John Cena theme song that I love, Basic Thugonomics. I love this song. My headphones falling off. So everyone knows the story of John Cena debuting in June of 2002 against Kurt Angle on SmackDown. And that's where, the famous Kurt asked John Cena what makes him so special. What is the quality that he possesses that makes him think he can go one-on-one with Kurt Angle? And Cena yells, "Ruthless aggression," and slaps Kurt in the face, and the rest is history. But after that, he got a pay-per-view win against Chris Jericho, and they tried doing stuff with him initially, but then that version of John Cena with the tights and boots just was floundering. And on the Ruthless Aggression documentary series that they released earlier, I believe it was earlier this year. I don't know. This year has been such a crazy one. I can't remember what was this year and what was last, but I'm pretty sure it was earlier this year that the Ruthless Aggression series came out, and he admitted that he thought for sure that the next round of releases his name was gonna be on that list. That's how bad it was. So the legend is that they were on a European tour, and he was on the European tours. Normally here in the States, the wrestlers, they get find their own transportation, whether it's rental car or they have their own private bus or whatever, and they make the towns themselves. When they do these overseas tours, especially in Europe, it's like a team. They're on a bus all together, the whole crew. And so on this particular tour, he was in the back of the bus with the likes of Rikishi and Rey Mysterio, and they were doing like a freestyle rap competition back there, and he was participating, and Stephanie McMahon overheard it, and when they got off the bus, she's like, we gotta get this on TV. Fast forward a little bit, the SmackDown 2002 or Halloween 2002 episode of SmackDown, John Cena was dressed as Vanilla Ice and performed a freestyle rap, and that's where the Doctor of Thugonomics was born. So this one has got, starts out and he's like, so, you think you're untouchable? And it's when he was, word life was his big catchphrase, and this is basic thugonomics. I'm untouchable because I'm forcing you to feel me. And it's just, like I said, I'm not really the one to critique or hype up a rap song because I really don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. But to me, like, I enjoy listening to it. Like, I'll turn it on every now and then, and I'm like, it gets me pumped up. And there's some good lines in there, like a broken needle, kid, you're missing the point. And yeah, it's a really good song. I really like it. So, and actually, so he used this song until 2005, and then that's when My Time Is Now, he switched over to that, and that's what he's used ever since. Except, he made a surprise appearance at WrestleMania 35, interrupting Elias, and he made that appearance as the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. He came out to the music, and he wore the throwback jersey with the baseball hat from the team, and it was cool because I really liked that Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena. That was a really good character. I really liked him. When he started getting away from that, that's when I turned on him, and wasn't really a fan of John Cena up until the last few years of his run here, where I could see the value of John Cena more clearly. But there for a while, I was just like, man, I don't like Cena. Give me whoever, insert other wrestler here. So that's number 3. Number 2, we're getting to the good stuff. Number 2, Sexy Boy by Shawn Michaels. So early 1992, Shawn is part of the Rockers, and they had been showing signs of dissension in the team, and so they were invited on an edition of Brutus the Barber Beefcake's Barbershop. I believe it was on an episode of Wrestling Challenge. It was either Superstars of Wrestling or Wrestling Challenge, but I'm pretty sure it was Wrestling Challenge. So they were invited onto the barbershop to kind of hash things out. And, it's a famous segment. Everyone knows this segment. They act like everything's cool, and then Shawn turns around and wham! Hits Marty Jannetty with a super kick, and then throws him through the barbershop window. And thus the Rockers break up, and we get this new version of Shawn Michaels. And this is, he wouldn't start using the Heartbreak Kid moniker for a few years, but this is when the Heartbreak Kid was born. Shawn had Sherry Martel, Sensational Sherry, as his manager for the first little bit of this new character change. And she actually sang the original version of the song. This is another Jimmy Hart production, composition. Jimmy Hart wrote the song and helped with the recording of this. So yeah, Sherry sings the original version of the song, and he debuts it shortly after in February of 92. But then a year later, in February '93, he and Sherry split, and they record the song with Shawn doing the vocals. And this is the version that he's used ever since. So I think everyone knows it, but just in case, I'm going to give you my own little rendition here. So here we go. I'm not going to do the, Shawn stuff at the beginning, okay? So just imagine that part, all right? So here we go. I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I got the looks, and it drives the girls wild. I got the moves that really move them. Got chills. I messed that up. Take 2. Think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I got the looks that drives the girls wild. I got the moves. They're really moving. Send chills up and down their spine. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm just your boy toy. Anyways, mess up the words a little bit, but you get the idea. So, that's Sexy Boy by Shawn Michaels. And last, but certainly not least on this very special episode of Music Moonsaults, number 1 on my favorite list, my top 5 list of favorite wrestler theme songs sung by the wrestlers themselves. Bad Street USA, performed by Michael P.S. Hayes. Doot, doot, doot. So a lot of people credit the Freebirds, the Fabulous Freebirds, as being the first ones to have entrance music. That's not the case. Other people had entrance music before the Freebirds did, like Gorgeous George and others. So that's not really the case, but they certainly were ones, they started to help popularize it in the 80s. So the Fabulous Freebirds were Michael P.S. Hayes, and the P.S. stands for Purely Sexy, I believe. Terry, Bambam, Gordy, and Buddy Roberts. Those were the Fabulous Freebirds. They were put together in Mid-South Wrestling by Bill Watts in 1979. But they really started gaining popularity when they went over to World Class Championship Wrestling in Texas with their feud with the Von Erichs. Von Erichs vs. Freebirds is one of the most... I got to find a different word on these videos other than iconic, but one of the most iconic feuds of... definitely of the 80s. So... the Freebird, they kind of, patterned themselves a little bit off of Leonard Skinner. And actually, so early on, they were using Freebird by Leonard Skinner as their entrance music. And sometimes they would also use Willie Nelson's version of Georgia on My Mind, too. But mostly it was Freebird. And then in the mid-'80s, the music industry started taking notice of these wrestling promotions using unlicensed popular music for ring entrances. So they started to kind of put the kibosh on that and either start, making sure they got their licensing fees, or, these people had to start using other music. So this leans around 85, somewhere in the somewhere in the mid 80s, but I believe it was like 1985. They decide, the Freebirds do, that they can't use Freebird anymore, and so Michael Hayes, who actually he had aspirations of being a rock star anyway. I think he actually even released an album or two. I think there's one of them where he's like on the cover, he's like naked and like the Confederate flag is covering him or something like that. Not a good look, obviously, anymore. But for the audience he was serving, especially at the time, you know, Georgia at the time had the Confederate flag in their state flag, and they were kind of, Georgia was kind of like their, what they were kind of representing, even though like Hayes is from Florida. And anyways, doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyways, so Hayes goes in the studio and he records Bad Street USA. They shoot a music video for the song, and it's like Hayes singing with an actual band, with like, you know, cut scenes of, you know, life on the street in the big bad city. So, and then from then on, it's used as their primary entrance theme. So again, little added bonus for you. Here's a little bit of what Bad Street USA sounds like. Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. Bad Street in the whole USA. Bad Street, nasty and hot. Further down the block you go, the better it got. Anyways. So yeah, that's it. That's the top 5. So, all right. Cool. Like I said, I didn't want to take up a lot of your time today, so I just wanted to get this out there and give you a little extra something in your Christmas stocking. God, problem with this hat is that I can't really put my headphones on top of it, and they slide down, and it's annoying. So yeah. If you like this, and you have an idea of other top 5s related to wrestling and music that you would like to see me tackle on this, leave a comment on this video, or, as I said before, follow me on Twitter and tweet me and say, hey, you should do top 5 such and such. I have a couple ideas for when I'm in a pinch. And I need something quick and easy. But next month on the show, I should be back. I have an idea of what I'm going to do for my my deep dive. But we'll see time-wise if I can do the research and get it done in time. So, all right, guys. So I got one more video this month. It's coming on the last day of the month, last day of the year, actually. On New Year's Eve, I'm releasing an episode of the Rock and Roll Retrospective that I did with my brother, Kyle, who you've seen before, and a friend of ours, Logan. They're coming on, and we're something kind of similar to this. It's not a top 5. We are ranking our favorite Foo Fighters albums from least favorite to most favorite, all 9 full-length studio albums. And the way we did it was, I said, hey, what if we decide it by, you know, listen to the albums, skip whatever songs we don't like, and then keep track of the songs that we skip and tabulate the percentage of how many songs we skipped. And that'll help us. It's kind of confusing. It'll be all explained in the video later. So, but yeah. So be on the lookout for that on New Year's Eve. And other than that, like I said, Merry Christmas, and we will see ya.